Max, first of all, thanks for joining your show and your reaction to Phil Jackson out as the Knicks president.
I mean, I would say not a moment too soon, but it's like 4 billion moments too soon. But look, as my late great brother Sam used to say, the time to criticize the fat person is not when they get back from the gym with the sweaty wristbands. You know, they just worked out and they're sweating and good. You don't criticize them at that moment. And Jim Dolan is that fat person. I'm not going to criticize him at this moment because he acted in the nick, so to speak, of time. Just in time. Look, Porzingis wasn't traded, thank God. And before Phil Jackson could do yet another stupid thing, I mean another idiotic, arrogant thing, Dolan stepped in. What was the idiotic, stupid, arrogant thing that Phil Jackson was going to do? He was going to buy out Carmelo Anthony. Buy him out. In other words, Carmelo could go play for Cleveland or whoever he wanted, and the Knicks get nothing for him. Now, Phil Jackson as team president was so bad it's practically indescribable, but here I will just describe the events. He took over a team who 2 seasons previous had won 54 games. It's a lot of games. And then won 37 games. They were going in the wrong direction, but still close to 500. He takes them over, says we're going to rip it all down and build it up again. Goes to 17 wins. Never comes close to even those, to getting back to 500 even. And after 3 full seasons, heading into the 4th season, essentially announces, we're going to tear it all up again. How did he get there? He traded Tyson Chandler for cap problems. Tyson Chandler's a really good player. Traded him for cap problems. He thought maybe there's a method to the madness. No, there wasn't. He used Damon Shumpert to leverage themselves out of J.R. Smith's deal, which they felt was a bad deal. Both of them were real contributors to a championship team. It was one stupid thing after another stupid thing, and ultimately he was about to essentially cut Carmelo. Here, Carmelo, take this money to go play for someone else. And Jim Dolan, and by the way, Ramona Shelburne, who I spoke to before the show and filled me in on some of the stuff that I was curious about, has done a fantastic job reporting on this. But essentially, Jim Dolan steps in at the 11th hour and says, hold on, time out. You're just going to give away Carmelo Anthony? Even I am not that stupid, and that's saying something, and stopped Phil Jackson for getting nothing. Look, Carmelo probably has to go, right? You got to work that out somehow. But getting nothing for him. So Dolan should be criticized, in fact, for extending, like picking up Phil's option. Here's more money, etc. That wasn't good. For letting Phil destroy the franchise to the extent that he has, though there were no great shakes even generally before Phil got there. But one thing I can say about Dolan, I will give him credit. He does not allow the money to stop him. The salary cap stops him, but he won't allow the money to stop him. He will spend money if he thinks, even though he's usually wrong-headed about this stuff, that it'll make the team better. He said, see you later, Phil Jackson. We're not simply buying out Carmelo Anthony. And the reporting now from Woj and Ramona and others that they're looking at Masai Ujiri, which I've been pushing for, is music to my ears. There is a totally competent, excellent GM who made something out of Denver. As soon as he left, they fell. He goes to Toronto, built them up. This is a guy who knows what he's looking at, is willing to put in the hard work. The only question now is, will Toronto give him up just for cash? Or do the Knicks have to include some kind of draft pick compensation, which I'm sure they don't want to do? But the Knicks are thinking right. They're the ones fielding calls, seeing who's interested in the job, and they can figure out what to do next. This happened in the nick of time. Phil Jackson's arguably the greatest coach in the history of American team sports. He's in the conversation. He was also arguably the worst front office executive in the history of American team sports. Idiotic, terrible, incompetent, lazy, can't say enough bad things about Phil Jackson, the executive, and the fact, finally, that the team president was trying to instill an antiquated offense as the basis, as the primary offense for this team in a league that has demonstrated conclusively while that offense can work in the context of various offensive schemes, it cannot be your primary offense. Not in this league, not with the rules as they are, not with the spread offenses and pick and rolls that they have now. The fact that the team president was forcing that on the coach and the players and running personnel through decisions through that metric is insane. Phil Jackson, good riddance.